Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. We have a very special guest joining us tonight, but before we get on to him, please go check out royalsreview.com. You can also find them on Twitter, on X, and on Facebook. I'm losing this Twitter battle, Jeremy. It's not going very well.
Well, that's you should just lose it. It's the Twitter battle is it's Twitter.
Fair enough.
Even then, it's not the X battle, right? No one would call it that. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. That sounds a lot more suspicious. I will say that. Well, hey, let's go ahead and meet our guest tonight. He is a pitcher in the Royals minor league system. Finished off the season with the Omaha Storm Chasers. He is Will Klein. Will, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, man. Of course. It's always a pleasure to have you on. You were back when this podcast was first getting its legs under it. You were one of the first players I interviewed, so I greatly appreciate you coming back on the show, especially after such a rebound season, man.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. There's been some ups and downs since then. I think that was that before or after my first year?
It was after your first
year. It was right after. So you got me after good years and so,
hey, you know what?
It's a good sign. Hopefully we do this every year.
Yeah. Hey, I like it. I like it. Hey, so before we talk about the season and what happened and everything like that, I want to just check in with you. It's been like a month and a half since the minor league season ended. How you feeling?
Feeling a lot better than I did towards the end of the year. That's for sure. It took like 3 weeks off from nothing, pretended I was a normal person, and then started the past month. I've been lifting the past 2-3-ish weeks. I've been throwing again, so getting back into it.
Okay. What's your off-season program looking like? We talked to Steven Zobak, another pitcher there. We got a little bit of insight into his program. I'm curious what yours looks like.
It's starting off a little just nice and slow. Lifting 3 times a week. Get some cardio, some bike or some sprints in 2 to 3 times a week. And then throwing started a week after I started lifting. So I think I'm on week 4 throwing, or week 4 of lifting, week 3 of throwing. And so last 2 weeks it's been just like 2 times a week, nice and easy. And then this week it's 3 times, a little 1.5 nice and easy days. 2 nice and easy days and 1 like a little like 60-70% ish day. And take that for, I think that's 2 or 3 weeks. And then next phase, like an on ramp. And there's like a command and pitch design execution phase. And then like a game ready phase. And so those are all like 3-4 ish weeks to kind of roll you right into spring training.
Wow. Okay. It's listen, spring training feels like it's a long ways away, but when you put it like that, it ain't really that far off, is it?
No, if you just go like completing each day, it kind of gets on you real quick. Every year, it's like, holy crap, it's already here again. And so,
goodness, man, goodness, it is. So, just to clarify, is the Royals putting together that program for you, or is that like a third party?
No, it's the Royals. I know a lot of guys, because I mean, you got a lot of guys that kind of do their own thing or they blend it. And I know, like my first year, I did a third party kind of blend thing. But like last year, they kind of revamped how they put together throwing programs, and everyone kind of like on my level in the minor leagues was really happy. And so I know a lot of guys have switched over and committed to that, and so it's promising. And I think a lot of people saw good results and turnarounds this year, so I'm gonna roll with that again.
Okay, sounds pretty good to me. And honestly, man, it's you, at least in the box score, you saw a lot of turnarounds this season. I will say that. Later on in the show, I do want to talk about you heading up to Seattle for the Futures game and all that. But I don't know if you've had time to look back on the season and kind of how it started from March and then ended in September, and just how are you feeling looking back on the season?
Looking back on it compared to like 20, 22. Super happy, because there were a lot of questions after that year. Myself and others were asking, and so it was nice to put together like a good year. There was like 2 really bad weeks, which is frustrating to look back at it and be like, man, 2 weeks like kind of put a damper on a whole like nice year together. But I'm pretty happy with how it went overall, beginning, middle, and end of the year. I think there were some pretty good phases there with how it went, like at the start and then leading up to being promoted. Had a good couple weeks after being promoted, and then tough go there after like the couple weeks after the fall league, and then I feel like I've finished strong. So it was nice to turn that around at the end too.
Yeah, that's really good. How's the pitch mix looking? I haven't been able to sit down and watch one of your outings in Omaha yet. I was curious how you feeling about it.
Pretty happy. I mean, the only thing I need to do is really like land that curveball more. I was looking at just some data, some like advanced metrics from this past year, and I just had way too much waste with that pitch, and for the contact and like damage people were doing in the zone with it. And so I just get more consistent landing that in there, and it's kind of a different ball game. Just getting ahead earlier with that pitch. Well, I was able to strike guys out even when I wasn't. So just imagine how much easier it'd be if I was. And that's my main goal this offseason is just reeling in that one.
So let me make sure that I'm right in this. So, I mean, bread and butter's fastball. That's been the case since, your first days here. You got the curveball, which is, from what I remember seeing, is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Do I remember correctly, were you working with a slider for a while?
Yeah, I threw the slider 15 to 20% this year. It was a big strikeout pitch for me to righties. So that really helped. The slider helped when I couldn't land my curveball, because that's where I got in trouble last year. Couldn't land my curveball. Well, then it's just a fastball, and my fastball command last year wasn't as good as it was this year, and so it's just kind of piled on itself last year. And this year I was able to throw that slider in there and mix it up a little bit more with even when my curveball wasn't there. And so that was something the Royals had suggested I added last offseason or bring back and like revamp, because I threw it in college. And so I did that, and that was a big part of my success this year.
Okay. You don't throw a changeup, do you? Or am I forgetting?
I threw it like 3% of the time in Double A, and then I didn't throw once in Triple A. Just
you don't like it?
I don't mind it. It's just, why would I throw like my 4th best pitch when I have 3 really good other pitches is the thing.
Fair enough. That makes sense. Hey, so I haven't been able to ask the pitcher this. What do you think about this whole debate over like the slutter versus the cutter versus the sinker? What do you think about that, man?
What do you mean?
So like everyone is they're talking about like 3 pitches with like 5 different names and trying to change up names, man. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I just think with like the increased like accessibility to like advanced metrics, people are realizing like pitches that they thought were all the same are like pretty different. Like, I mean, I've seen that with like the sweeper and the slider. People want to call them the same, and like I guess you could say they're both still sliders, but the sweeper is a completely different pitch than like a gyro slider, and so it doesn't really help to like label them the same. Like you got a cutter normally has like good positive vert behind it. I know Joe Napoto's cutter had more vert than his fastball because he throws a sinker. Well, then if you get a slutter, that's probably a normal like gyro-ish slider, but with like a little bit of vert, I guess. But it's probably more towards like that gyro slider that's got a little bit of a downward angle, whereas the cutter's got ride like a 4-seam. And then like a sinker's down and in, and like a 2-seam's just in. It's just a whole slew of new classifications for like different variations of the same pitch, kind of.
Oh goodness! Listen, man. I feel like I know a good bit about baseball, but man, that stuff gives me headaches.
And they're adding like a death ball now.
Oh, what?
I saw it on. I think Tread posted a video of it the other day, calling like a 12-6 with like arm side run like a death ball. So it like literally straight up and down, like no sort of horizontal movement at all. Just I don't know. That's a little far for me.
That sounds well. Hey, it sounds pretty deadly to opposing batters. I will say that.
They can get that on the MLB broadcast next year. I'll laugh. That'd be funny.
That it would. That it would.
Rex will help us out, I bet.
Oh yeah. Hearing Rex trying to make heads or tails of that would be fun. I will say that. Well, hey, I want to talk about your experience up in Seattle, man. So you were chosen to be the Royals representative at the All-Star Futures game, and I know you didn't have a perfect outing there actually on the mound, and that's okay. But I just want to know more about the experience. Like how was it? What do you take away from that?
I mean, it was awesome. Other than like the 5 minutes I lasted on the mound, everything around it was so cool. From getting chosen and them like trusting me to represent them, that meant a lot. And then getting to go there, just like the whole being able to like bring my wife and my dad. Fortunately, my mom and siblings couldn't make it, but getting to go and like experience all that too, and just kind of like seeing kind of the fanfare around it. It was like a little like mini day of being in the show kind of, and it was really cool. Like we got to just pretend that we were major leaguers there for a second. I know a lot of them turned out to be already and will be next year, and hopefully that's the case. But and then outside the baseball part, like we went to a really nice dinner in Pike Place and saw the ocean. Almost went on a whale tour. You know, it was a fun experience because we had some friends up there too that got to come down. So it was good all around coming together for the All-Star break for sure.
Heck yeah. And at least you didn't have to wear those. I remember the past couple of years they had those silly like split jerseys.
Those are so bad. Oh my God. The ones I like the ones this year. We got to keep one too. So it's
really? That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, they gave us one for the game and then one to take home. So that's cool that they did that, and that'll be framed in our next house or something. Little man cave.
Heck yeah. It's just back in the closet right now, huh?
Yeah, I don't even know where it is right now. Dig it out of a box somewhere.
Hey, that is A-okay. Hey, I was super glad to see you get picked to go up there. I was, it's you said it before. It was a little bit of a rough go in 2022, but you bounce back in all the ways you can control in 2023. I want to, we talk about weathering past the bad times to get to the good, but like, how are you approaching next season after having both of those, a good season, a bad season, and a good season? You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm just gonna pretend like 22 didn't even happen.
Hey, all right, I like it.
That was 2 years ago, and I think what I did last year just made that null and void. It kind of showed what I could do at the upper levels, and learned a lot, especially from that little bad period I had. And again, like a lot more mental than physical stuff there. And so just take it in, gonna try to make the team out of spring training. If that doesn't happen, make it a month, and just keep rolling. If things don't happen that you can't control, just keep going, and it will happen. Same thing. I feel like I was waiting forever to get called up to AAA, and then I almost got in my head about it. I was like, God, when's it gonna happen? And I was like, no, I can't worry about that. I still gotta pitch where I'm at right now, and so it's kind of gonna be the same thing as next year. Like finishing AAA, hopefully, get the big league invite, and then show them what I can do, like pitching wise there, and just show them that I'm even better than I was last year. So hopefully,
yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. I've been unabashed. I'm a big fan of you, and I just I enjoyed watching you on the mound when I can watch it, and I love to watch you do it in a Royals uniform, man.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Jeremy, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I like to kind of be on a completely different track. So Jacob's asking you all these baseball questions. I want to know about you a little bit.
All right.
So like when you're not working out or on the field, which you are a lot, what do you like to do?
Where to start? So I mean, it's weird to have. Hold on. Yeah, I'll get him in a second. My cat's on the stove, but he'll be fine. That's so we got 2 cats. So my wife's in law school, so I have a lot of time at home trying to take care of them, and they're not the brightest, but they're pretty fun to have, and they help too, and they travel with us, so that's something I like to do. Earlier you said you thought I was playing video games. Well, I do, just not right now. Play like FIFA and not many other games right now, but I like playing FIFA.
No MLB The Show?
Huh?
No MLB The Show?
No, I played that during the season. That's just too much baseball. That's so much baseball. Oh my god, 160-ish games and you're done.
Yeah, I bet.
Watching sports, like we watched a lot of the World Series, college football. I'm Indiana Hoosiers fan. Watch the Colts too, as sad as that is, and then some soccer. And so that's fun too. It gives me something to watch, and then I collect some trading cards too, like Pokemon. That was my cleats were inspired by that for the Futures game. And so,
you got a favorite Pokemon?
Tyranitar. They're on my cleats there, and so that was cool to get to kind of put that little flair on them for the Futures game too. That was definitely a fun part. But no, that's really it. Like we do a lot of outdoor stuff, like walks, hikes, like getting to go see a bunch of different things, and so it's really just hanging out with my wife and my cats, and venturing around St. Louis right now.
That sounds like a terrific time. You got any recommendations if somebody goes to St. Louis where they should go visit or where they should eat?
I mean, the Arch, obviously.
Arch, yeah.
We live on the Hill. It's an Italian district in St. Louis, and our favorite place here is Antonino's. It's been on Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, I think.
No.
I think it's one of the Guy Fieri shows, but it's really good. Nice Italian restaurant. Lots more around. We don't go out to eat a whole lot, but I mean, obviously, like you've got Busch Stadium, you got the Blue Stadium. The new soccer team, St. Louis City Stadium, is super cool. Soulard's a cool spot to get some drinks, and there's just a whole lot like in the surrounding like St. Charles and Clayton kind of area too. So there's a whole lot to do, like anywhere within 30 minutes. It's a super nice place to live.
Cool. So just to completely twist things around again, the minor leagues got to join. You minor league players got to join the MLBPA. I think it was last year. Has that made a drastic change in your minor league experience that you've noticed so far?
Yeah, a lot of those horror stories you hear from old guys are not really a thing anymore. I know last year, like the whole housing thing started, and that was the biggest impact I think anyone's kind of biggest change that has impacted minor leaguers in like the past 20-ish years, just because I know in 21 we didn't really know where we were going until like 3 or 4 days before, which is standard. But I was Quad Cities, which is a new affiliate for the Royals, so no one had any contacts. And we got there like 3 or 4 days before our first series, and it was on the road. And so we were like, the whole time we were on the road, half of us are still trying to find like living places because we wanted to give like a 5-6 month lease and all that. And so just having like steady housing and like not having to pay for it helped a lot of guys, especially guys that had wives and children, because they were offered a stipend too for all that if they opted out, or they got like their own like 1-bedroom place. And so that was awesome. Obviously, like the pay increase too, like with forming a union was nice, and a lot the year-round pay too. Like we're getting, I think it's like $500 every 2 weeks. It's not a lot, but it's enough to help with like groceries and rent and training fees, and so all that. So that's, it's been pretty awesome. And I remember going to like those meetings before it all started, and no one thought it would happen as fast as it did. And so it's kind of crazy that it just like you put the vote through and boom, your union, and then the settlement and all that. It was kind of a whirlwind there, but it was great to be a part of it.
Cool. That's really good to hear. I'm glad all those horror stories are over.
Yeah.
They were not fun to really think about. I was like, man, if I was in that situation, I would not be able to handle that. Like guys sleeping in bathtubs and stuff like that.
No, that was a real thing up until like 21. We had like 4 guys in like a 1 bedroom, like people like 2 mattresses in the living room. Like I know the Angels guys that got the whole thing changed. Maybe Angel, I don't know where it was, but I mean they were sleeping like in their cars and stuff, and it was crazy.
Goodness.
Cool. I think that's all I've got for now. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the questions, Jeremy. I didn't even think about asking about the union stuff. You've seen both sides of it as you were talking about. Will, before we get on out of here, if our listeners had to know one thing about you, one minute detail, what would it be?
Oh man, just like super random, like or like what kind of?
It could be anything you wanted to be. You're going up to someone, shaking their hand, saying, "Hi, my name's Will Klein, and I am blank," or something about you.
Should have prepared me for that one.
I like to put people on the spot with it.
I mean, super random that I don't think anyone would get from looking at me is, or the fact that I played baseball is I skipped 2nd grade in elementary school. So
really,
that's a random one I like to throw out there.
All right, yeah, that'll you don't hear about that too often now, do you?
Nope.
Heck yeah, man. Well, hey, I know you got a lot of other things to be busy about, and I'm sure you're not just trolling on social media a whole lot. But if folks want to follow you, where can they find you at?
I think I'm on Twitter. Everyone calls it Twitter. No one's going to call it X. That was stupid. I know. I think it's just Will Klein 0. Okay. Klein is Klein. And then Instagram is just Will Klein, but no vowels, just WLLKLN.
All right, that's one way to put it out there.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool, and it's kind of stuck now. All the other Will Kleins were taken, so.
Fair enough.
I think that's all I got.
Heck yeah, man. Well, hey, we do appreciate you sitting down with us for about 20 minutes. Oh, heck yeah, there's one of the cats.
That's Mango. He wanted to say hi. He was the one on the stove.
What's your other cat's name?
Ash. Mango is orange and Ash is gray. So
nice.
That's a pretty easy way to tell them apart now, isn't it?
Yep.
If you flip those names, everyone would be very confused.
That's what I thought.
I love it. Well, hey, Will, thanks for joining us tonight, man, and wish you all the best in the off season, and hopefully we can catch up again before the rubber meets the road. How's that sound?
Works for me. Thank you guys for having me on.
Heck yeah, man. Have a good evening now, okay?
Yep, you too. See you.
See you. Bye. All right, and that was the one and only Will Klein joining us from St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you, Will, for giving us a few minutes of your Wednesday evening. Jeremy, man, listen, we've had a couple of pretty good interviews. We had Zobak, we had
couple, you say.
Yeah. Well, no, we're starting to stack
for
them
a couple. I know you've done several more.
Oh, well, I got the so the Steven Zobak interview is going to publish next Monday. So go ahead and check that out. If you want to listen to it early, I'll plug it. Shameless plug. You can watch it, on my YouTube page. Just Jacob Milham. Yes, Jeremy, I have a whole 11 subscribers over there. Can you believe that? Woohoo!
Let me know when you get to 500.
That's not happening.
I managed, how many years did that take me? 6-7 years? And I got to 500 subscribers.
Woo. Man, oh man, oh man. Well, hey, it's up to 5 views, and I put it out a day ago. So I mean, that's pretty good, I would say.
YouTube is, I gotta tell you, this is the reason I decided we should have a TikTok account and not a podcast YouTube account, is because YouTube is awful to try and get anyone to pay any attention to you.
Yeah.
TikTok, people are gonna see your videos just because of the sheer quantity of people on there, and also because they're shorter. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of throws them at you. Whereas like YouTube, like you got to go looking for, like, oh, I want to see something about Royals baseball. That's the only way you're going to see it. Right.
Exactly. Exactly. It's and I'm very glad for you getting that TikTok up and running. And if you don't follow us on TikTok, it is your loss. I will say that we're on there at Royal Rundown Pod. You get to see us be silly. You get to see exclusive snippets that you don't hear on the podcast, i.e., my wife, who is on FaceTime right now, getting us out of the show early.
Honestly, she saved, as I wrote on the TikTok post, she saved our audience from like 2 minutes of us, and maybe it would have even gone on longer, of us just not being able to stop.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's a me problem where I just can't stop talking and I'll just start repeating myself over and over again because I don't know how to continue, but I can't stop. I didn't know that was also a you problem, but apparently
it could be a me problem at sometimes. And listen, some people who should really learn how to stop are the folks in Jackson County there running that county, because that's really the only other Royals related thing to talk about. Is I know that happened last week. It happened on the article came out on Thursday. All the backlash happened on Friday, and that it was pretty quiet over the weekend, which was both a good and a bad thing, because I don't think anyone was really paying attention when the county actually said something back in response to it. So long story short, not Frank White still has not said anything on this. Frank White is quote unquote, yeah, he is. They said that he is out of town. And quote.
Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I want to make sure. I want to make sure.
I might say something completely different and I won't even notice sometimes.
Oh no, trust me. I for a person who talks a lot, sometimes I don't even know what I'm saying. That's not a good thing to have, not a good quality. But long story short, Fox 4 over there in Casey got with County Administrator Troy Schultz, I think is how you say his last name. Go ahead.
I have to throw out there that I am displeased with that article.
Yeah.
Because it does not note until the very end, the final sentence, that Schultz works in White's office.
Yeah.
Which is kind of important when you're talking to someone who is saying, no, all of this information that Frank White is giving you is real. Like, it's important to know that the guy works with /for the guy he's backing up.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, I will say this, it was just not very well put together, because I couldn't read that without the headline and say, okay, so this is what the county is saying about it. The quote was very vague. There wasn't any backing information. Was not great
either. You're right.
Yeah. So
I don't want to sit here and just bash on them. I'm sure that they're out here doing their best.
They are,
but
I'm sure.
Hey, here's just a couple notes. Bring it. Let's just bring that next time, please.
Yep, and that's all you can do. Live, learn, do better. But yeah, to sum it all up, Mr. Schultz, I assume, is standing by the Kansas City Star report that reported amount, with 2/3 of it, I think, is the rough amount being the insurance to cover a new downtown stadium.
I believe that's correct.
He
did note in the article that the insurance for the current stadium is going up 24. Was it 24%? It was in the double digits in 2024.
It is going up 18% in
18%. Okay, so I was like, 24, it's going up in 24, and it's 24%? That can't be right. No, so it's 18% in 2024. So when they give you that this is going to go up in 10% every year, and I don't think he would just flat out lie about that.
Yeah.
Because that is a direct statement, right? That it's going up 18%. And people don't usually directly lie like that. They'll fudge things, they'll disguise things, but that's a direct statement. So I believe that. And then he's like, well, this is why we think it could be 10% for the rest of the time. And also he makes the valid point that you can't just go to your local Allstate and say, hey, will you insure this $2 billion stadium for us, please?
Yeah.
There's relatively few insurers they can even negotiate with. And as we all know, the fewer competitors there are, the better price you get, right, Jacob?
Yeah, obviously it's the best thing for the consumer to have.
Yeah, monopolies are good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have monopoly money, they're good. But unfortunately, I don't have monopoly money.
If you want to build a hotel, they're good.
Apparently so. It's only like $100 to build a hotel. Shoot, I'll do that.
But yeah, so like, even though he works for White, and so that makes you really want to question, like, what are his priorities here?
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine he's directly lying about those things. And so that does make me think that it does actually throw some support behind what we've already been talking about.
Yeah, and that's I do want to clarify this. The initial documents that everyone is citing they're still not public. Those aren't ones that it's the Missouri Sunshine Law is, I believe, what it's called. They're still confidential, not releasable to the public, things like that. I am curious if this gets even more nasty. Will we start seeing documents leaked and things like that? Yada, yada, yada. But it is, I understand what it was 2.9 out of like 4.3 to 6.4 billion over a 40-year time period. I would really love to see those documents and see how that is all broken out, and see if the 2.9 is like a high estimate, low estimate, or the median somewhere in there. Because it's just that price tag that they're talking about is a lot bigger than what we've heard from the Royals and from other parties. And to be fair, and you can roll your eyes at me about this, Jeremy, and listeners can roll their eyes about it as well, I guess the Royals technically weren't saying that they were contributing to like the life of the stadium with that amount that they were pledging. They were just pledging
the life of the stadium.
Yeah, they were just pledging the initial building cost.
Yeah, because that's all they want to talk about, because that's going to be the significantly lower number. Whatever whatever the final number is, it's going to be much larger than whatever number is bandied about as this is how much this project cost. Yeah, sure. But we had to take out loans. We had to pay back interest. We had to insure it. We had to upgrade infrastructure. We've been over all this, so I won't belabor the point.
Exactly. So yeah, this is, I don't know where this situation is standing right now. After Friday, a lot of the parties are pretty quiet right now, which that is a side effect of this happening in the off season. The Royals are not at the front of the pecking order for headlines. It's kind of the Chiefs Halloween holidays right now. We're heading in that time frame. So I imagine we'll probably start hearing some more concrete things, once February rolls around, once they have to start campaigning possibly for that April ballot. We'll see what happens there.
I just don't see how that's possible at this point, because you're basically done being productive this year, as far as like government work goes.
Yeah.
And like you said, you've gotta rally public support to get them to, vote yes. And you got to do all this stuff. I just don't see how, and there's enough disagreement here that I don't see the county just going, fine, we'll give you exactly what you're asking for. And it doesn't feel like the Royals are willing to settle for less yet.
No.
So I would be very shocked at this point if that 3/8 cents sales tax went to ballot in April, as the Royals have asked for. This whole process has gone much more slowly than the Royals would have liked, whatever you think the reasons are. And I expect that to continue as we get to that deadline that they have set.
I do agree with that. And I will, before folks start talking about Royals going to Nashville, Royals going to the Carolinas, stuff like that, they still have a good amount of time before we get to that point. I don't even if we're on a bad trajectory right now, I think even if we continue this trajectory for another year and a half, that's when we'll start hearing about stuff like this.
And honestly, I still don't see it happening, because as we've heard from people, I don't think that the Royals are serious about Clay County, but I keep hearing from people that Clay County is serious about Clay County. And so if John Sherman and the Royals go, listen, this is not going to work in Jackson County. They're not going to give us what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Clay County is an obvious next step, whereas Nashville, Charlotte, wherever is not at all.
So here's the soapbox that I kind of want to get on, because we heard from the Chiefs this week saying that they were kind of standing pat on their stadium stuff because they are, they're next in line after the Royals. But
and all of the current stadium stuff is all tied together, so they can't really do anything until they know which way the Royals are going to jump.
Exactly. But the Chiefs made it clear that they just want to renovate Arrowhead. They don't want to, that, and of course that can change. They can change their opinion and stuff like that. But let's just say that they are 100% on board with, we are not going to move the Chiefs. We are not going to tear down Arrowhead and rebuild. We are just going to renovate. Mm-hmm. In my mind, Jeremy, and I would love your response on this. In my mind, that puts more.
Your mind, that's always scary.
It is. I think that is more of a reason for voters to see the cause behind the Royals feeling like they need to move. And I understand this is kind of going back full circle to when this whole process started, because they talked about the concrete cancer and the infrastructure stuff that has to happen at Kauffman.
Still hasn't been reported by anybody else.
Exactly. So it hasn't been publicly reported, and the only
Chiefs aren't talking about it.
Right.
I mean, they're connected. If the concrete cancer was in Kauffman, you would think it would be affecting Arrowhead as well, and that the Chiefs would be like, well, it might make more sense to even if they want to stay there, to knock it down and start over.
Exactly. And that just ties back, and the county stuff. I'm not putting 100% of my trust in it, but I will say that their evaluations of Truman Sports Complex were that it was still in operable shape. It was still in okay shape, I think is the word. So we're seeing all the pushback. Do you think that the public would be more on board with just, hey, let's give them money to renovate both stadiums?
Oh, absolutely. I think because there's still so many people who are like, why do you have to leave Kauffman? Kauffman is a beautiful, iconic stadium.
Yeah.
And as I've talked about before, Dodger Stadium, been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. Fenway. I was like Fenley.
You had a brain for it there.
Wrigley, Fenway, both around a long time. Yeah. And of course, we know the answer. The answer is that the Royals, John Sherman, the rest of the ownership group want some real estate development. Yeah. And they want the city to help pay for it. So they say, well, it's a stadium and it's a public-private partnership. And so I don't really think the Chiefs, it's so hard. The Chiefs have much to do with it. I think the Chiefs are just like, we don't want to be involved in whatever mess y'all are trying to get into. Right. We're happy with where we are, because really they do not want to move. They want that giant parking lot that belongs to the teams, to the stadium, because that tailgating culture is so ingrained there. And if you move to, like, say, downtown, then you're talking about dividing the parking up and really changing the vibe and the dynamic. So I don't know. The Chiefs have it really good right where they're at. Mm-hmm. And I could absolutely see a scenario where they're like, okay, now that the Royals are gone, we could take that spot, we could turn that into a practice field. Now we don't got to go to St. Joe. Yeah. Or they could say, we could turn this into more parking. We could turn this into a money-making opportunity of some other kind. Yeah. I don't know what they probably have they probably have a whole team of guys just sitting there like, what could we do if the Royals move, and figuring all this stuff out, that are all smarter and better at making money with real estate than I am. So I think that's probably where they're at, is the Chiefs just don't want to be involved because the Royals have kind of made a mess of this from the beginning. And the Chiefs are like, well, we don't really want to We don't want to be associated with that. And then, obviously, the Royals want the Chiefs associated with it because the Chiefs have much more positive press right now, as we talked about back during the All-Star break when John Sherman was talking about, oh, we want this because it'll benefit the Royals and the Chiefs, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm at, is I don't think the Chiefs really care what the Royals do. They're just going to, try and make the best decision they can based on whatever does happen with the Royals.
So I don't think that one necessarily plays overlord to the other, for a lack of better terms.
The Chiefs absolutely play overlord to the Royals.
Well, I meant like the stadium decisions specifically.
Oh, well, I'd say only in the sense that the Chiefs don't know what their options are until the Royals have made their choice.
Okay. Yep, that's true. I don't know. Maybe the public needs to be pushing for. We need to go back to like step 2 of this whole process. Okay, ownership group announces that they want to move stadiums, and then they put out their reasonings for wanting a new stadium rather than renovating. Okay, let's go back to that step and establish, do you really need to leave Kauffman Stadium? And I understand that especially me, I understand that I can sound a little flip-floppy on this because I kind of just gave into if the Royals want it, they're going to have the downtown stadium one way or another, whether that's with less public money or more public money.
I still think is the case.
I don't know, man.
In the end, I will be very surprised if the Royals do not get a new stadium built in East Village. That I will be very surprised if that doesn't happen.
Okay.
I don't know what all we're going to deal with in getting there. I don't know how much deeper the drama may go. But I do think that's eventually where we end up.
Okay.
I don't necessarily like it because that will mean that the public is paying for part of it. And as I was kind of going back and forth with Preston on Twitter this morning, and I basically conceded, like, if the Royals agree to pay for this, or if the Royals stop pushing for the sales tax and let the county, remember, because the Royals don't really get to decide this. They just keep saying, this is what we want.
Yeah.
If the county says, we're going to put on the ballot a ticket tax that will pay this amount of money for you. And also, we're not going to guarantee all of it only for the stadiums, because that's how this current deal is set up, is even if they bring in excess on that sales tax, they can't spend it on any other project. Oof. They just have to hold it for the stadiums. And I don't like that. Not everyone benefits from having a stadium, no matter what the Royals will tell you, no matter what any sports team will tell you. Because if you're not going to the stadium, it's not benefiting you.
No.
So you shouldn't pay taxes on things that don't help you. And I know that somebody's going to be like, oh, well, I pay taxes for schools and I don't have any kids. Well, yeah, but an educated society benefits you.
Yes.
But a stadium doesn't have that kind of tertiary benefit.
Or economic benefit.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So that's what I want to see, is I want to see it tax the people who are actually benefiting from it, aka the people going to the stadium, aka the people running the stadium. And then I want to see the money available to improve society at large. You want a public-private partnership? That's what it looks like. That's a good point. That, okay, we have given you some money to build your stadium. Now you give us money in the form of taxes that we can then use to improve the lives of our citizens. That's a public-private partnership. What the Royals are currently asking for is not that.
Oh man, it's tough, and I'm hoping that this is like one of 2 times that we're gonna have a big blow up about the stadium in Kansas City media. I'm really hoping that, in a month's time, we're talking about the free agents that the Royals have started signing and the trades.
Well,
yeah.
I just to completely jump on this topic now.
Oh boy.
I really do think the Royals are going to be busy this offseason. I don't think it has to do with the stadium. I think it has to do with The way JJ Picola was talking at his end of season press conference was like, yeah, we've got to fill some holes. We got to fill a lot of holes, and we can't just do it all internally. So I'm real excited. I'm ready to have my heart broken again, I guess.
Yeah, that is history will say that is how it's going to go down. I have the same outlook that they will, whether it be on the trade market, whether it will be in free agency. I think that the Royals will be making plenty of moves. Like, it was like 3 weeks that we went last time without a Royals move. Well,
I think they were the very last ones to make a move or something like that.
They were among the last at the very least. In my mind, I chalk that up to, okay, you have JJ who is just getting into that seat. I don't care that he was with the franchise before. You still have some onboarding stuff to go with. And the team didn't want to invest in pitching, which was their main need, when you don't have a pitching coach yet. So they didn't move on from any coaches this past season, whether you like it or not. That is how they're standing pat right now.
Like
it. I've seen it come up a lot lately for some reason. I don't see the immediate benefit. I get why people would want them fired.
Like this. Let me put it to you like this. Would you like the Royals to emulate the Raiders?
Oof.
That's a team that hires coaches to fire them real quick. You didn't get me to the playoffs yet, you're gone.
That's true.
Do you want to be the Raiders? Do you want to? They're known for how dysfunctional they are, for how they don't treat their players well. Do you want the Royals to be that's what you're asking for when you say the Royals should fire Matt Quatraro, is you're asking for them to go down that path.
Yeah. And we don't want to go down that path. That is not the franchise that we want to emulate. So hopefully in a month's time, we'll actually have some good, solid Royals things to talk about. But I'm very glad that we were able to have Will Klein on this evening. Thank you very much, sir.
Seems like a great guy.
Yeah, I have, in my limited interactions with him, I have nothing but good things to say about Will. And it's always good to hear more about the person and their experiences in baseball rather than just the box score, in my opinion. So thank you very much.
Anytime I see someone who has a pet and can say with that love on their face, they're a little dumb.
They're a little dumb, but
I know that they got something going for them.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
Because there's people who be like, they're dumb. That's not the same thing.
No,
it's what you got a little love in your face, you got a little sparkle in your eye, a little love in your voice, and you say, they're dumb.
They're dumb. They're a little stupid.
They're a little dumb. I love them anyway.
Just the cats casually on the stove. Let's see what happens. Only one way to find out. All right, listen, if you want some more of our craziness, please go listen back to some of our old episodes. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us wherever you get your podcast. But we always point people to Spotify because you can respond to our Q&As. You can respond to our polls over there. We do have some Q&A responses to read real quick, Jeremy. Yes. So, well, yeah, we got a negative review on one. Just Matt, who's a first-time responder, said, "I think I'm done with this podcast." Like, okay. Ooh. All righty, Matt. Well,
that's it?
Yep, that's it.
All right. Well, don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, I know, right?
To do anything with.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. Sayonara there, Matt. Let's see, Aaron Bailey. And now on our last episode, we got like the usual people responding. So I do appreciate that. Aaron Bailey responded to our question. The question was, where do you stand on the stadium issue after this week? Do we need more transparency? Aaron Bailey said they just need to move forward and yes, transparency and even do some polling in Kansas City. I actually like the North Kansas City options. Area's hopping and it's a stone's throw from power and light. Aaron, do appreciate your insight there. I haven't put a whole lot of weight into the polling that I've heard so far from Kansas City.
The problem with polling is that it's almost always biased.
One way or another.
Nobody commissions a poll to find out an answer. They commission a poll to get the answer that they want.
Yes.
So when the Royals are polling, they're like, phrase this question such that they say they want the stadium where we want it, and that they want to pay for it the way we want it paid for.
Yep.
And when somebody else does the polling, they have a different priority, and it's all a mess. So you gotta, whenever you look at poll results, remember, look at what the question was and adjust what you see the answer as accordingly.
Luke 5747 said, such a frustrating experience as a fan. Yes, do agree with that, Luke. Both sides are arguing through the media. The Royals just can't seem to stick to their own deadlines.
Well, the problem is I think the Royals are trying to set deadlines to put pressure on
the county,
Jackson County, and Jackson County doesn't care, or Frank White doesn't care. Somebody doesn't care. Yeah. They're just like, sure, deadlines, cool. I'll get back to you eventually.
When I get back to you. Luke went on to say, I've gotten to where I know they're moving, just do it. So that's, like we were talking about, Luke, we will be very surprised if they don't end up moving. And lastly, Royal Rupert responded with, just move the team to Nashville. What other team would want to play at the K? New expansion team, ? Well, Rupert, I will say this. If the Royals move on from Kauffman Stadium, it is not going to be empty very long, because it is going to be demolished after not very long. There is no way that a team can justify pushing their way out of the stadium and then just to have another team come in and play in said stadium. So thank you, everyone, for your responses to our Q&As. We did get a lot of... This did not age very well, as the Rangers have a 3-1 lead over the Diamondbacks, but I asked the listeners, who do you think will win the World Series, Texas or Arizona? 71% said the Diamondbacks, and it's not looking too good out there.
It could happen.
It can. It's happened before.
Teams have come back from 3-1 deficits.
That they have. They have before. It's just the math is not in their favor, and that's okay. That is A-okay.
Didn't the Phillies have a 3-1 lead over the Diamondbacks at one point? Or was it just 3-2?
No, I want to say it was 3-1. I swear, listen, they talked about all the parallels between was it the 2001 Diamondbacks World Series, or was it 2002? Whenever the last time
2001.
Whenever the last time the Diamondbacks went to the World Series, there was a lot of random parallels. That was the same year Randy Johnson hit the bird with this pitch. Well, Zach Gallen hit a bird with a pitch this year.
I didn't know about that.
George Bush threw out the first pitch at their first World Series, and lo and behold, he threw out the first pitch at this year's World Series, because he's with the Texas Rangers in some form or fashion. There's a lot of strange parallels. So, that series continues on Wednesday night. I'm hoping the Diamondbacks win, just so it goes a little bit longer. I will be very disappointed if this is the end of baseball for the season already. Jeremy, do you have anything else before we get on out of here? Reviews.
Nope.
I'm crazy.
Reviews. Sure, we should review something.
Yes, we should review something. Well, I'll go and start so I can give you some time to think, since I'm coming out of nowhere. Oh shoot, what? Oh, so Katie and I just watched The Nun 2 last night. The sequel to, I think the first one came out like 2018. It's part of the Conjuring universe. It was very enjoyable. I will say that. It's one of those movies that would probably be very overstimulating if I went and watched it in a theater, because I was just sitting here watching it on my laptop, and I was still very I'm jumping out of my seat and like curling my toes and kind of like scared. And also, I did not realize how much money that movie made for the studio, because it only had a budget, even though it was a theatrical sequel. It only had a budget of $38 million, and it brought in like $260 some odd million. So
wow.
It is, I know that's just something that studio folks will care about, but I thought it was like, hey, if it keeps making money like this, that means they're going to keep making movies like this. Yeah. And I'm okay with that. Jeremy, what you got for a review, man?
All right, so a little more information about me than probably anyone needs. I try to work out every day.
Okay.
And one of the ways I encourage myself is that while I'm working out, I have a rowing machine that I usually use.
Mm-hmm.
I watch an anime. I watch a subbed anime. Usually watch dubbed anime. I don't judge dub or sub. I think they're both great. But not everything is dubbed. So I'll watch a subbed anime because I don't have the focus to watch those when I'm not exercising. And when I am exercising, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this anime instead of thinking about how I really don't want to be exercising. And I just finally finished. Oh no, I forgot the name of the anime.
Oh no.
I remember the name of the opening song. Birdie Wing, that's the name of the anime. Birdie Wing, a golf girl anime.
Okay.
So it's about two teenage girls who want to become pro golfers and consider each other their ultimate rivals.
Okay.
And one of them was born to a golfing what's royalty. Like her mom was just an amazing golfer, her dad was an amazing golfer, her grandpa owns the biggest golfing supply whatever,
it's in her blood,
golfing equipment manufacturer in Japan, blah blah blah. She's destined to become the youngest pro ever and really just make everyone want to buy their stuff. And then the other girl grew up in Nafrace, which is France, but they didn't want to call it France for some reason, so they called it Nafrace. They still have Japan, they still have England, but Nafrace instead of France. I don't know. She grew up there, homeless, poor, all this stuff. This random dude taught her how to play golf, and she goes to underground mafia golfing, gambling things, and wins money for herself and the people, her found family, via that. And then they eventually bump into each other and blah, 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 blah. It is a bonkers opening, obviously. It gets, in some ways, more bonkers and less bonkers as time goes on. It's not really a sports anime in the traditional sense, at least not how I understand them. Most sports anime are very, like, descriptive of, like, these are the strategies, and this is how you do this, and this is why you would choose this. And, like, you know, for example, if you watch Ace of the Diamond, which is probably my favorite baseball anime, like, an episode will just be like a couple of innings where they'll be like, every pitch just like, oh, I should throw a curveball because this and this and this, and I got to make sure that I hold it like this so it breaks like this because this and this and this.
It's, you like said,
just
so
on
detailed.
and on and on and on.
Yeah.
This was more of the shonen kind of thing where they were just like yelling the names of their golf shots, like, this is the blue bullet and I'm going to shoot you through. And it's just like, okay, sure. And they did not. I was going into this, I'm like, I'm going to learn about golf. I'm going to know what golf's about. Nope. I know about the shining rainbow burst. What does that mean? Nothing.
Something with the 6-iron, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it's a really kind of fun, cute anime, really goofy. The animation's gorgeous. But if you're looking to understand golf, you will not understand golf when you're done. If you're a big golf fan, you may just be like, no, this is stupid. There was one character in there. I'm sorry, this review is just way too long. There's one character in there who, like, literally runs at the golf ball. Like, she takes several steps back and then runs at the golf ball and swings at it while running so that she can hit it harder. And I'm like, I don't think anyone does that. I don't think you would be very accurate if you tried to hit a golf ball while running.
Happy Gilmore? Question mark?
Does that happen to Happy Gilmore? I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen Happy Gilmore?
No.
Oh man, you are missing out.
Wait. Is he a hockey player who becomes a golfer?
Yeah, he's a hockey player who becomes a golfer.
I have seen that. Yeah. It's been a while.
Okay. And he doesn't use normal golf clubs. He uses
his hockey swing.
Yeah.
But does he run at the ball?
Yeah.
Before he does?
Yeah.
I still don't think that works. I don't think that's real.
It is. Look it up. I've seen people do it on YouTube, and it is replicable. It is effective, but you ain't gonna see it on the PGA Tour anytime soon.
Yeah. And they were like, we're doing this at the British Open. Okay.
All right. Strange. Alrighty.
Yeah, anyway, so that's that show. Go check it out. If any of that sounded interesting.
Hey, to each their own, man. It does not sound like my cup of tea, but that is
fair enough.
just fine.
Yeah.
Also, random thing that I just realized: the past two guys that we've interviewed for podcast episodes have been top 30 prospects. I didn't realize that Zobak he's the 30th ranked prospect. Don't get me wrong, he's just in there, but then Will's the 25th ranked. So that is very cool. Well, hey, go ahead and check us out on social media, please, at Royal Rundown Pod on
Where
X.
I will tell you all about Birdie Wing.
Yes.
Just ask me, and I will just tell you everything.
That is the whole reason why TikTok has 10-minute videos now for Jeremy's reviews. Oh, man. Yes, go check us out on TikTok at Royal Rundown Pod. Thanks to Jeremy over there. Nearly something new coming out every single day. So thank you very much for that, my man. And listen, if you're still listening to this, you know where to find us on social media. Please go support us there. Just gives us more fire to keep doing stuff for y'all.
I challenge you all to say one nice thing.
Yes.
To us, and one nice thing about someone who isn't us, but say it to us on Twitter.
Would absolutely love that. You can send yours to Jeremy at Hokius. That is Hokius. You can send them to me as well at Jacob Milham KC. Like I said, they are linked down in the podcast description below. Also, if you want to send your thoughts to Honey, you could do that too on Instagram and on Facebook at Handmade by Honey Co. Well, Jeremy, let's go ahead and get on out of here, man. Get on with our Wednesday evening. Thank you very much for joining me as always, sir.
Thanks for lining up some impressive interviews.
That's what I'm here for, my man. Alrighty, and to everyone out there still listening, thank you so much for supporting. And until next time, go Royals.